I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Elginak Community School District Board of Education on Monday, August 23rd. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Andrew Goulet.
Here.
Bill Clark.
Here.
Nicole Emery.
Here.
Heather Arnell Roberts.
Here.
Sharon Stiltner here. Jennifer Baker.
Here.
Janice Basco.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Before we get started, I see we've got some new faces in the audience. Welcome. If anyone would like to speak to the school board, there's a blue sheet over there you can fill out if you'd like. Just when we get to that section of the agenda, just make sure Sharon's got a copy if you'd like. Yep. And with that, I would like to make a motion that, oops, let me go up to my right notes. Make a motion to amend the agenda, so item 4B1C for Laura Stiltner, Special Education Intervention Assistant at Algonquin Elementary, be moved from a personnel item to an action item due to relations with a board member of the board. Would anyone support? Yep. All right, moved and supported. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. And up next, we have, there's no recognitions, presentations, right? Consent agenda items. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I motion that the Board of Education approve all consent agenda items, including agenda, minutes, personnel items, treasurer's reports, and bills as listed in items A through C.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any comments? Questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes as well. Mr. Latos, information items, Chromebooks and Chromebook carts?
Yep, Chromebooks and Chromebook carts. So when we started back pre-COVID, when we started to add Chromebooks, based on what we needed to give out to the community and just some things that we thought would help our arsenal here. At that particular point, it was very difficult to get our hands on those, and we had a lot of what basically had happened was we were able to get our hands on a couple hundred, and then knowing the ultimate end goal would be we wanted to get a full arsenal to where if ultimate what we wanted in the schools. And so at the beginning of the summer, I sat down with the principals and I said, give me your pie in the sky, what you think you would like, how do you want it to look? And basically what it came down to is they thought they'd get the best use out of the Chromebooks if every classroom had a set in a cart. So they could come in every day. We didn't have to trade them throughout the district. We didn't have to swap them from teacher to teacher, that we would have them. Now the only exception to that was the K1 building. Melissa had said, if I could get a cart per grade level, it would make sense and I can move them around that way. So that was the idea behind this. So if you look at the ones that we ordered last year and the carts that we added, this number right here, the 420 Chromebooks and the 36 carts, that's what we would come up short to have our ultimate goals. So the plan would be to put those out for bid this month, actually I think next week, and then hopefully, Evan, can you help me with the end date on those bids?
We only have to have a bid out 14 days.
Okay.
We'll action items at the next board meeting.
Perfect. So we'll
Put
them out and we'll get them there. And then now again, they're still not real easy to come by. I mean, people advertise all the time that they have them in stock, but when you try to get them, sometimes that's a different story. So we have plenty on hand right now to get us through the beginning of the school year. And heaven forbid we have to shut down, we'd still have Chromebooks to put out to the community as well for assistance. But I think we'll be okay, and I think that'll get us through to where we finally get them. And when this order comes in, we'll be fully loaded for what we need. So.
Is this something we would use her funding for?
I'm sorry?
Is this something we use her funding?
We got the COVID, that ESSER money. That'll cover actually all of it easily.
Okay.
So yeah, we will.
Al, in the past, recess
Well, they,
try, or-
are you talking about that REMC bid list, Andy? Is that the one you're talking about, the?
Yeah, where they buy like a semi-load full of, and then the local districts, you know, based on what the local districts want,
Yeah.
you get it at that, they're not.
No, and it might have to do again with the demand of how many are out there and what's available, so, yeah. Anything else on that?
From a cleaning and disinfecting perspective with the cleaning regimen, does that take into account, like, cleaning the Chromebooks before they're handed around, or?
It's I think with them in the classroom makes it much more manageable
Yeah.
to wipe them down at the end of the day instead of, yeah, trading them on. And, you know, this will benefit too if we have a student that's out for a quarantine or even just out for a long stretch of time, you know, the ability to be able to send them home with that device and let them keep up. I think it gives us the opportunity to do that too.
Cool.
B, the smart boards, that's a little bit different than advertised there. The smart boards are on the REMC list. In fact, the ones that we have and the ones that we are getting, so they will not be going out for bid, but we
Okay.
will be getting those. That's part B there. For next door, Point Trumbull for the robotics rooms. When we went through, the idea was to make sure that we had one in every instructional classroom, and then we would add as needed. And so those are two that they have old ones in there right now that will be replacing with the new smart boards.
Is Blue Water getting the new ones that we're getting too, or
They already got 'em.
They've got them.
got
Yep.
them already?
They got them last year.
Good.
Okay. C, with the back-to-school protocol, obviously this is a topic that's been not only in Algonac, everywhere. It's the lead of every association meeting I go to, every county meeting I go to. Obviously a hot topic across the state and across the country. We've and I talked to you about this last month, about the idea of, I've been very measured in when I put information out because it's very fluid. We know it changes daily in some of the guidance that we get. But I did, today's the time to do it. I mean, we need to start letting everybody know where we're at with it. And I've been pretty, when people have asked and said, what's the plan gonna be? I've told them my plan would be, we would return based on health department mandates versus recommendations. So at this point, the Michigan Health Department and the St. Clair Health Department is recommending that districts wear masks. And my answer to that has been, we will recommend to parents and students, if they would like to wear a mask, that they could wear a mask. But in terms of mandating that or requiring it here at the district, if we're not getting that guidance from above, it'd be very difficult, we feel, to do. You're taking some choice out of it for parents. And when I make these decisions for the district, just so you kind of know where my head is when I sit down to do this before I bring these things to you, I try to take anything that's a political view out of play. I try to take anything that's a personal idea out of play, and what I really try to do is find what makes best sense for the community and what makes best sense for our kids, meaning, is it healthy? And there's a lot of things that go into that. The one that's at the forefront all the time is the physical health, because those are the symptoms that you see, but we also know there's mental health that's tied to this, there's emotional things that are tied to this. And I think that we have to look at that as a whole, and that's where, so when we're weighing these decisions and we're coming up with things, I look at our community and what I've been told from them. I look at the school board, obviously, and what the feeling amongst you folks are, and it's really, so there's a lot of things that go into it. And at this point in time, in our conversations with the health department, I'm not looking to be stubborn about anything. I just want to know where we're at right now, and right now what they're telling us is they're recommending it, and I certainly will pass on that recommendation to our student body and to our parents. But at this point, I feel like we are in a good spot. We have mitigation strategies. We're still gonna distance to the best of our ability. Quarantines, just so you know, as of Friday, quarantines are a public health order now. That came out Friday afternoon from the health department. That is a public order. That is no longer a recommendation. So we will still be quarantining based on their order, okay? So I think with those measures in place, my suggestion would be that we would start the school year with it as a recommendation, not as a mandate.
That makes perfect sense.
And then, you know, I think it's something as a school board that we need to revisit monthly, if not more. You know, we know that we saw last year when we hit the shutdown in the spring there, when we went from 0 cases to 20 cases in 1 week. And it happened so fast that we couldn't even get our arms wrapped around it by the time we were saying, okay, next week we're gonna have to probably shut it down for a while, because we had half our high school quarantined and a whole bunch more at the elementary. So it can change real quick, and if it does, that might mean us getting together, having a special meeting if, you know, if we're seeing cases go crazy. I don't know what it'll look like this fall. I think it's, you know, wait and see.
I have a question for you, Al. We had that option at summer school classes. How many COVID tests were run, or how much in the COVID, how much did we find from the students there?
Eddie?
Elementary, we didn't have any COVID positive cases. We did tell parents if they're sick to stay home. Parents did keep kids home for the most part. Summer school classes were small classes of 12, 13, so we did try to keep the distance in there as well, but
none.
we had a pretty healthy summer school. So we didn't have any of the elementary cases.
We had no issue at secondary.
The document too that I put in front of you there, the frequently asked questions, I plan to send that out this week along with a community update to the community, and that's a draft, so do with it what you will there, but it's just kind of a, you know, if where we stand right now, where we're going, what happens if, and it covers some of those types of things. I think it's just something that might be helpful for people that have questions. And obviously, people are gonna have much more in-depth questions at some point, and I'll certainly answer those, you know, but I think this would be a good starting point for them.
I have a question. So the masks aren't gonna be, they're only gonna be recommended at school, but on the school bus though, it's required, right?
Yes, yep, and that's a federal law at this point. That's, that they cover, federal covers public transportation. School buses are public transportation, so yes, that one is, that order, I don't know when it expires. I think it's kinda got a no end date on it at this point, so at this point, yes, transportation, that includes transportation, sports contests, transportation everywhere.
That's my next question is, so sports and testing and mask wearing at clubs, sports, after-school activities?
Yep. At this point, we will let the Michigan High School Athletic Association kind of dictate things. Remember last year, they were the ones that said mandatory testing. That's not a thing right now. Right now, they are starting, I think they're kind of in a little bit of the wait and see as well. But masking on the buses to those events, yes, once they get there. Again, we're gonna place some schools that might have a different rule as us, so that'll be, you know, what they work out amongst the sports, or once they work out amongst the athletic directors, but that's a possibility, because our non-league stuff, we travel into Macomb County, and I understand some schools in Macomb County are starting to look at making masks mandatory, so. As it stands right now, the county is exactly in lockstep with what we're doing in terms of recommending but not mandating, and that goes for every school right now in our county, and then including Anchor Bay to the, you know, to the Macomb side of it, and I think right now that's kind of where everybody is, so.
Al, do you know what Macomb County's quarantining rules are, or they're not under a public health order?
With quarantines, I do not know that. Now, I do know this. I've been told Sanilac County, there's schools up there that are not planning on quarantining, but I don't know that they're, what they're.
Because they announced that on Friday, we have to
Yes, that is a public health order that goes much different than any recommendation, and they do have the authority to do it.
That was at county level?
Yes.
What's the length? Is it 10 days working, 7?
10 days is what their recommendation is. Yeah, 10 days, unmasked, 6 feet apart. Masked would be 3 feet apart.
And vaccinated, no quarantine at all?
Vaccinated, no
Unless
quarantine.
showing symptoms, I think.
Within 90 days of a positive test, no quarantine.
So in this, it says the positive test has to be through the St. Clair County Health Department. What if you have a Macomb County doctor that can?
I think you'll be okay as long as they got record. Yep, I don't think that'll be.
But like an antibody test doesn't count?
That is not, at this point, that is not the or that's not what we've been covered under the order.
Al, are you going to put this online or on our school board website?
Yep, I sure will.
So, the state and the county are refusing to give an order. They're only saying we recommend, right? Except on buses and yes, I'm having a quarantine. That's the only things that are really mandated.
Well, no, the quarantine's only mandated through the county here.
Correct.
That's not a state.
Well, but I
That's
mean,
St. Clair
county and or
Right.
state is, yeah, so.
A governing body.
Quarantine, yes, mask on buses, yes, mandated, and everything else is recommended.
Recommended.
So, I was reading stuff about that K-12 Alliance, and that's schools all over the place, that, basically they're saying, if you don't wanna give us an order, then we're gonna say what you said, recommendation.
Right.
And that, to me, that makes perfect sense, I mean.
Yep, and being on that K-12 board, last night they had emergency kind of meeting, and it was basically, Andy, it was just that this group addresses the governor directly. That's kind of where they are, and they basically have said it's gonna be very, very difficult for districts to get behind this. And you've got, when you're looking at that group, that's that K-12 Alliance, that's Macomb County, that's St. Clair County, that's Genesee County, Oakland, and Wayne. So you've got a real big portion that's really pushing to say, hey, if, otherwise stop throwing it out there,
So
right?
Al, if we play like San Luis County, someone in San Luis County, then they don't have to contact trace with us if we played a sporting event against their child and they're not contact tracing because they're not doing that in that county, but we are in this county. How does that work?
Yeah, and that's my understanding. Heather, you're starting to ask questions. I'm getting in over my head because I couldn't tell you. My guess is that they would provide us with the information. We would do what we do on our end. It sounds like.
This is where it gets messy, where it's.
It does.
I think that's just where you pay attention to symptoms too.
Yeah.
And
You
you
know
start
your
feeling sick after.
Yeah,
you know.
but I 100% agree with you. It does get messy, and it's going to be messy too
Especially
because.
with us being on the border of Macomb County.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It gets really
Yeah.
messy because
Yeah.
we have kids that live in Macomb County that come here, and vice versa. It's
And,
just-
well, I even look at like Macomb County, and I think about having competed athletically, Algonac, in that league for years. So right now you've got, like, I understand Warren Consolidated today said that they're gonna mandate masks, but they play everyone across the county in athletics. And there's a whole bunch, Utica, Chip Valley, that said, we're not doing it. So that'll be an interesting dynamic too on how they decide that works, but.
So my other thought about just the recommending masks is that for the kids that do wear them and their parents do wear them,
Yep.
we're gonna be watching, make sure there's no bullying or there's no,
Abs-
these are kids, I know
Yeah.
that you can't do that, but
Yeah.
there shouldn't be, I'm hoping there's no repercussions for
No,
the
and-
kids that do choose
Right.
to
Yeah.
wear them.
And I really don't.
Teachers or whoever choose
Yeah,
to wear them.
I think it sounds crazy to say, but when it comes to this mask thing, our kids have been very, very resilient and very accepting, I should say. I don't think, I just don't see it being a big issue, Nicole. I think people are kind of gonna look and say, you know what, they're doing what they wanna do, and, that's all about the choice thing, right? They could wear those,
I certainly hope so.
but they can wear those, we didn't need a pandemic for them to have to wear them, right? They could have worn them anytime, so, but I just don't think, I don't foresee it being a bullying type situation.
I just know it's a hot topic.
Yeah.
You know, if I go to the store and wear a mask sometimes, or don't wear a mask, people say stuff, and those are adults, so kids,
Right.
you know, and.
It is.
I wanna make sure that if that does come and it's brought to attention, that it'll be dealt with.
Yeah, and I think we've got a good staff that kind of gets ahead of that a little bit and just says, hey, this is a choice. This is what it's all about,
When we say
right?
recommended, we want parents to feel comfortable that they can still send their kids with a mask and
Right.
not have to worry about
100%.
repercussions, not only from students, but, you know.
Yep, I agree. Melissa, get some?
We did have kids in summer school that chose to wear masks. So we did have that mixed, it was kind of,
Just was.
and I didn't see anything, you just kind of went on about your day. It was just like another little glasses or, you know.
Our kids are a lot smarter than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Al, a couple questions. From our educators' perspective, what's your pulse there say? Are they in support of what's being recommended, or?
I think they were on board with what we were doing. I mean, the ones I've talked to, and I know that's just, you know, a select handful, I think they would prefer not to, because when you're educating, it is a hindrance, particularly at the, you know, the younger grades. I think it's, you know, they want to see that whole face, that whole thing. So I do think it's a little bit of a hindrance. I think if you ask most of them, they would probably tell you I'd prefer not to. But at the same point, you know, last year when it was what it was, they were on board with that too. But that's my thought anyway.
So there hasn't been any statements from their contracts or from the bargaining units saying yes, no?
I haven't heard anything. No one's threatened me if we had to wear them, and I don't. But I don't know. Jennifer Cartwright. I mean, I don't know.
No, my perspective is I would prefer not to wear it. My kids, you can see my face,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's consistent with most of us.
Yeah.
And our opinion.
Lisa, high school, same thing.
Yeah, I have teachers that prefer to wear them, and they'll probably continue to prefer to wear them.
Yep.
But I also have teachers that prefer not to wear them. And for the most part, whether they choose to wear them or want to wear them or not, they're on board with what is required of them at whatever time.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Al, do you know how many of our teachers have gotten the vaccination? Not that it matters, but just.
Yeah, I think, Sharon, last year when we were looking at it, and this is just based because we had, you know, arranged it for people to have the option to get it if they'd like to up at the RESA. This is a rough guess, but probably 2/3 vaccinated would be my guess.
Thank you.
Anything else on COVID?
I guess I got a couple more
Oh, yep,
thoughts to
you're
share.
okay, yep.
Just, and I've already shared this with Al, but I wanted to express it just with the broader group so everyone knows at least where my head's at. And you know, this is the guy wearing a mask, right? I've been a germ conscientious for 14 years now. My head and my heart are very conflicted here. My head agrees, right? I think forcing a mask mandate when it just doesn't seem like the government officials aren't forcing the same thing, our ability to enforce it and have parents on board when it seems the community and our educators, right? So I get all that, and the cost of us enforcing a mask mandate, I think, are great, right? If it doesn't come from the right place, right? That said, I do think we're working in an environment that's difficult to socially distance to begin
Agreed.
with, right? The mask, I don't think is that big of a deal to layer in that, because it's a something, right? I get that they're not a silver bullet, but we cover our mouth when we sneeze and things like that, right? So surely it helps at some level there. A family's right to choose, I agree wholeheartedly, but I also think part of the mask is it keeps you from spreading it to other people. So your choosing to not wear it impacts others who may choose to wear it, and it's a public school, so that to me feels like, I don't know, is that the most fair thing? My employer won't allow me in the building still. If I do go in the building, I have to wear a mask. And maybe it's different there, right? So I wanted to share those perspectives. I think a lot about this. I overthink things for a living, so.
Yeah. And Phil, just to kind of, in response to that, you know, when we started this months and months and months ago. The first thing we did was we put a survey out to the community and asked what their thought on masks was, meaning recommended, mandated, and it was pretty overwhelming that if they were recommended, that they would prefer to have the choice. With that said, I get multiple emails daily explaining why we shouldn't wear masks, and I get equally as many telling me that we have to wear masks. So there is definitely two sides to it, and I respect both sides. Like I said, I got a great deal of respect for people that are, Phil, you've been very, right from the get-go, very, I think, consistently masking. And I just, I think it's important we're pointing out that we do get it from both ends.
Oh, yeah.
And I watch, I read news articles, I watch videos, I get a lot of these different things, and again, it comes from both sides, and I think a lot of it just has to do with, it gets back to personal beliefs on some level, and, they talk about science, but if you follow the science this way, and they can say very
Everyone's
different
got it,
things.
yeah.
And so I guess it's a matter of who you trust and who you believe, and, or maybe what your personal thoughts are as well.
And this is back to the importance of the K-12 Alliance, or Andy, you touched on it.
What's that?
The importance of the K-12 Alliance, like you touched on, that if you've got a governing body hinting that this is so important, yet they fail to make that call and leave it on our shoulders.
Right.
We're not experts.
Right. Yeah, it's very difficult, and I even get to, like I said, and that's why I kind of wanted to, before we got too far, I wanted to explain how I come to the decision on this stuff, because, I always tell people, I went to teacher school, right, and they didn't teach me how to deal with pandemics, and I didn't learn any of this stuff there. So when I make a decision, again, it's based on a lot of things. It starts with the welfare of our students, whatever that entails. It talks about the board and what you feel we could support. It comes to the community and what they feel they could do. And I think, ultimately that's my order in trying to get to at least something that's a reasonable decision, so.
Yeah.
But every family, every situation is different from somebody else's, where you may have a child who you have to take care of, that you are responsible for, and is more susceptible to germs or anything else that comes down the pike. And then you don't know what other people's lifestyles are or anything else. So my opinion, I would be more willing for you can wear a mask if you so choose. If you do not choose so for your family, because you know your family better than the school does or the government or anybody else, and what you do and how you socialize or where you go. So to me, that would be my way of thinking. I appreciate yours, and I can certainly understand it. If I was in your situation and what you deal with, my thinking probably would be entirely different than it is now,
Right,
you
sure.
know? So I just think it'd be nice if all the parents got vaccinated, then the kids probably wouldn't carry the virus possibly, and then we'd be a lot better off maybe than where we are now, but that's a whole nother ballgame.
That's a whole nother
I
ball.
see this,
You know?
myself, I see this as another failure on basically the state for supporting education, because we're all, you guys are supposed to be spending this time focusing on
Yeah.
the coming year, and
Right.
here we are still,
I agree.
I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that people should contact their representatives and explain to them how this has impacted. We're looking to educate our kids. If they want to be in our pockets and dictating what to do with the school's money, but they can't make a decision on whether or not, these things happen, so
Yeah.
if these people can educate our children, I think that's right at the top,
Yeah, I have a quick question. And I know it's not a great option, but are we still allowing people that really don't feel safe sending their kids to school? Are we still offering a virtual option?
Absolutely.
I know that it's not,
Yep.
people, that's not an easy choice, but
Yep.
there is still that option, right?
It is, and I don't, that's something that even, when I've looked, Nicole, even going forward, if nothing else, last year really shed some light on. There's certain situations that this isn't the setting, at least at the time being, so yes, we will be offering it. And again, I know that's not perfect, we've all acknowledged it. I don't think anything in that virtual realm probably is, and I'm a little bit biased because I was a teacher, and that's, you know, I believe that I need to be in front of my kids, but at the same point, yes, that option is there.
There is
Yep.
there an option, I
Yes.
suppose.
Yep. All right. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you for everything you're doing now.
Yeah, I appreciate it, thanks, and a good conversation too. Appreciate it.
All right, up next is administrative reports. Mr. Melrose?
Yes, just so everybody's aware, our mailings are going out tomorrow morning to everybody from 7 to 12 for the orientations. So in the mailing will contain the student schedules, locker numbers, locker combinations, emergency cards, all that stuff will be in the mailings. So that'll be going out tomorrow morning, so we said you should have them by Wednesday or Thursday. And again, orientations are Monday, 10th through 12th grade. And again, that will be from 8 in the morning till 12 p.m. We're gonna have pictures that day. If, I said, I'll send out an email with that information, but if you go on the website, you'll see right on the high school page there about accessing the picture forms. You can go online and order your pictures right through there, they give you a school code. So it's really easy, it's right there, but again, I'll be sending out something with an email probably tomorrow as well with that information. Again, people can tour the school, check their lockers, play with the lockers, it's been a while, so get in there. And also, again, we're recommending 10 to 12, 7 through 9, but if you can't make it on Monday, you can only make it on Tuesdays, that's not a problem. Either day, or if you can't make it any of those days, we can make arrangements for you to come in to get your lockers or whatever you need to do. Someone missed the picture today, we always have the makeups in the fall. So, again, that's Monday and Tuesday. Couple other things, just we're really excited, going into the new year, we have 3 new staff members. We have Joe will be teaching middle school English. He's coming from Richmond. His kids go here in Algonac, he lives in the district. We're really excited to have him on board. Keith Corbett, who is with us before, is returning to teach math, and we're excited to have him. And then also Emily Tenniswood from Mothers up at RISA. She's going to be our college advisor, so we're really excited to have her in place right there. So she'll do a really good job. Also, came late in the summer, but we got a mandate from the state to allow for PSAT and SAT testing in October. Going to be the dates. Again, I sent out, there was an email that went out today. These are completely optional. They're not mandatory. They don't get penalized if they don't want to take them. But there will be, let's say, for PSAT 9, and then also PSAT 10/NMSQT, which is National Merit testing, the qualifying scores. That will be available for current sophomores and juniors, and then any current 12th graders can take the SAT as well. So that will be in October. I think October 21st is when we'll be doing the 9th grade test, and then the 26th, which is a Tuesday, we'll be doing the PSAT 10, and then on Thursday, the 28th, we'll be doing the SAT. So those will be testing. And again, I'll send out. We have the ordering requirement is September 15th. So I'll send a couple more reminders before then, but I'd like to get them in that Monday, just so that I have a little buffer time to get things organized and have those numbers. But again, just so that it's available for parents and students.
Is the SAT going to be a retake, or is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Even if they've already taken it, absolutely. For instance, that they want to retake it, absolutely. So that's totally that option. So that's totally available to them. And then lastly, just again, it's just kind of excited to kind of get back to the normal things. We get to the end of the summer here. We had band camp, that was successful. South football camp, cross country camp. My son got to participate in that, and that was fun. And they did a lot of good things. It's just got to kind of see everything get back to normal. And then just this week, we'll actually have our first official matches. Football, volleyball, cross country, they're all competing this week. So good luck to those teams. And again, it's just nice to have the students back.
Were you guys able to acquire volleyball coaches? I saw a question
know,
going on
Rich
about that.
The business has told me anything
I saw a
differently,
question
so.
about that, so
Yeah.
it'd just be good to know if they're actually all playing. Thanks.
Thanks,
Cool,
Ryan.
thank you. Awesome. Mrs. Lestage?
So I think I've touched on this a little bit before, but it's official. We have 6th grade band coming back to Algonquin. The outpouring of people wanting to do it, and then parents caught wind. So I think we're going to be really excited to have that back. And right now,
good, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Hanners?
Well, summer school just ended today, so Millside is currently in the very frenzy of getting our floors waxed this week. But we had 200 students in summer school. We had 15 summer school classrooms going on. It was very well attended. It was a lot of fun. It was very long. It was an 8-week summer school, which we've never really done before. So, but kids were great all the way through, all the way up until today. So thank you. We had 4 buses that ran summer school. They all did a great job. Everything went well. Our kindergarten numbers continue to rise. We do have 5 sections of kindergarten. We're at 117 students right now.
Awesome.
So a big group coming in, you guys. It's going to be fun. However, a lot of them have come with no school experience because of the pandemic. So if you're available, I'd love help from everyone. Open house for both Algonquin and Millside is Wednesday, September 1st. It is staggered. Millside's 5:30 to 7. Algonquin is 6 to 7:30. Parents can come in and see the classrooms, meet the teachers, do all of that fun stuff. We are getting everything ready. Teachers are really excited. We hope to bring back a lot of the fun into the school while still doing those safety measures and social distancing extra cleaning. So, hoping for a really great year. Kids are excited. It's nice to see so many people out smiling. It's nice to see their smiles. So, yeah, if you guys need anything, like I said, we're excited about the year.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Guessing no update for Point Trumbull?
Well, yeah, sort of. When you took action today, Dana Bozell, who had explained, has taken the position left vacated by Susan. She came back and has gone to be tested today for COVID, so she'll be there. She's gonna be there. It's just it might take a little longer than we had anticipated, but she's very excited. I spoke with her a couple times today. She's real excited about being there, and we'll make sure we get you a nice report in September about how things are going over there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Up next, we have board reports, and we have the MASB Delegate Assembly that we send members to every year, although last year we didn't because it was open to all members. I think historically, Sharon, you have gone.
Yes.
Are you still interested?
I highly recommend it for anybody, new or old, that's a member of the board. And I am not going to make it this year, my first one in all these years, but it will be the most interesting one because of COVID. There are so many school districts that'll be there that'll have the same information and the same things we're going through, that when we're talking and having discussions, whether it's at lunch or in between meetings and classes, it'll be a very interesting time, you know. So I highly recommend it for someone who would like to, if they could not be a delegate, to at least attend the meeting, you know, one day. It would be real. It's in Grand Rapids this year, so it's a little bit farther.
Amway Plaza, right?
But it's, I think 3.5 hour drive one way. But it's well worth it if anybody will go.
Well, Janice had
I
expressed
definitely
interest.
wanna go.
Right? You'd
I
like
went to
go.
Traverse City, and I thought it was the
How
most.
many delegates do you send?
We send 2
beneficial
delegates
one I've been
delegates.
to it,
so-
but more can go. We just can only have 2 voting members.
You just
So-
will not be a delegate.
I'm pretty new, so.
But that's
I-
just for voting.
I went when I was
It's okay to be there.
green.
I remember when they did a delegate assembly, it was at the Hyatt in Dearborn. Our whole board went, and our superintendent went. And we all went out for dinner one night and talked about everything that we had seen and done throughout the whole day, whatever, and, you know, we all sat around, you know, after at the end of each of the couple of days and talked back and forth about the different, because, you know, different people went to different stuff, and there was, you know, the more people that go, the, you know, the better, but.
I went
It's neat to see.
But
at this one.
Sharon's right. It's-
Yeah, I would like to
Something
like
you should,
Like
if
you
you,
said.
if you can go, you should go.
The more they can come and kind of try and conquer with like the classes
Yeah.
and things like that.
So Janice, you plan on going?
Yeah.
For sure.
Mhm.
So you'll be one of our delegates. I guess Nicole and Jen,
I would like to go.
you'd like to go? Okay, so you'll be delegate number 2. And then Nicole, you're welcome to go still,
Okay,
if you can make it.
okay.
Very nice girl. My former foreign exchange student from Italy messaged me last week, and this poor girl has an agency there, and they to schedule your year abroad, and they told her, well, we can't find a place for you, so you either got to find your own place or you're not going. So she was telling my former girl about this. They live in the same town, about it, and so she got a hold of me. So of course, you know, I could never tell Carol no anyway, so she's coming. So.
Great, nice work.
September 29th, there's, behind the scenes of the Capitol in Lansing. It's also something that the board can attend, and I think that's something I'm gonna go for also. So if, I'm open if anybody has anything that they would like discussed. I'm gonna be able to meet with, some representatives.
That's cool.
Nicole, I think you were talking about hopefully being able to go also. So that'd be a good opportunity to get Algonac, and hey, we're here.
Good.
You know, a little bit, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep, awesome.
And behave.
I'll do my best.
You'll be on the news, right?
Well,
Right.
Andy and I attended Battle of the Band Saturday night. It was a fundraiser, kind of like through the Marine City Lions with the Algonac Lions, you know, helping out too. And they had a band representing Algonac and a band representing Marine City. It seemed like it was very well attended by a lot of people, but I think there, you know, being a home field advantage, Marine City had the heads up, but Algonac put up a good fight. And so the Meldrum brothers represented us, and then Paul and Oates represented Marine City. We lost, but we raised almost $1,500.
$1,499, and
Awesome.
someone from the coaching staff, Mel, I think Coach Mel, is going to the Marine City Lions meeting at 7 o'clock tonight to pick up our check that Al and I talked about it. The Lions asked me who were we gonna want the check made to, and Al and I talked about it, and this is a great idea Al had, that if we have it go to written to Algonac Athletics, so it's in an internal account for Algonac Athletics. So our kids go make it to regionals or states or whatever, we can buy them shirts out of that, or if a kid can't afford to play, we can take it out of that, or, I mean, so it'll be completely kid focused, which was the whole point of Marine City Lions putting this whole thing on. So it was a really good time. It was a really good fundraiser. They did it 2 nights in a row, and they're planning on doing it again next year.
They said they might move home field, so we might have
Well.
a chance to get it to Algonac, or they talked about that, or to St. Clair, because St. Clair Marine City were Friday night.
Right. So more to come. We'll keep you posted when we know more about it. So.
Cool. Awesome. Anything else? All right, Mr. Latos?
Yeah, the good thing about going last is everything's already pretty much been covered, so this is great. No, I did want to really acknowledge the work done with the summer school program this year, and I've bragged about it the entire summer, but just the fact that that's the largest one since we've been in Algonac, or since I've been in Algonac, which is 30 years, which means it's probably the largest one we've ever had between the middle school and the elementary. You know, well over 200 kids, well over 20 staff members. I mean, it's just, it was, and all Algonac staff too. Every single staff member was an Algonac employee, and we haven't had that happen in a whole long time either. So, again, just shows to me the dedication of our staff to our kids, and understanding that importance of this summer was very crucial, I think, for a lot of our younger kids to, you know, I mean, summer school, and some, you know, attendance wasn't always maybe the best for every kid, but you know what, they got stuff out of it. Every kid got something out of that, and I just, I mean, that's a big commitment when you're giving up your, you know, I mean, everyone thinks that teachers with the summer off and it's, you know, out on the boat and we'll see you in 3 months. Yeah, that's not the case all the time. I mean, we've got a real dedicated group, and I just really wanted to make sure that we acknowledge that, because our kids got a lot this summer.
That's awesome.
Couple other things, roof update from Algonquin. They're winding things down over there. They're actually working up over the cafeteria and the auditorium right now. All the siding's up, they're pretty much good to go. They're wrapping that up. So we'll be good to go for the school year.
Al, I have a quick question. Are they replacing the roof or at Algonquin, or are they just going over the top of it?
Over it, that was a full,
Well, it's,
Tear off?
they did
Not a full
tear
tear
off
off,
the
no.
roof per
Yep.
se. They take all the aggregate, the ballast off the roof, and then they put down foam insulation, and then they put a vinyl membrane.
Yeah, I
over
saw
top of
the,
that. Same thing that they did here at the high school. Same warranty, comes with a 20-year warranty on the roof.
okay.
Are they on track to be done?
Yeah. Yep, I've just met with them last week, they're good to go.
Cool.
All the cameras have been installed in all the buildings that we've asked this year. Our servers aren't quite in yet, so we're not online, but that's coming soon. We'll be ready to go with that. You know, just, again, not, just with a lot of the stuff going on right now, it's good to be able to, if we ever have something that we need to go back and look at, and, we'll be covered, and it just helps with, I mean, this is access, you know, to provide access in case we ever had something happen in the building where we needed help from the law enforcement, you know, they can be able to tap into our cameras, and there's a lot of different things that we can do with that as well, so. Excited to have that at our, you know, outside cameras, inside cameras, the whole shot, so. What else do I got? Andy and, Heather had talked about the Lions Club again. That was a great fundraiser, $1,500 in one night. It's a nice little thing that buys a lot of T-shirts, or like Andy said, even if we get a situation where we sometimes have kids that you know, don't have the means to have certain equipment, and we can certainly help them along with that. Couple other things, and I don't know if you noticed, but we got a nice the coat of paint that's been put on the front of the building. We talked about it looking maybe a little bit too much like a prison for a while when it had this beige color to it. Now it's white, and now it looks real plain, so now we're gonna have to do something about putting some signage up there.
Now it looks clinical.
Yeah, it is, yeah, yeah. But it does look, I mean, it just, I don't know, I walk in the building every single day, so I notice it very clearly now, you know, and, so we got a few plans for that, putting some signage up there. We just repainted the entire high school gym and had the floor redone. So if you happen to stroll down there, take a peek, we've got, it's the dark blue with the right color yellow and white up on top. It looks good. It needed it. So no more brown metal doors in there. We painted those, so it looks like it's school colors and pretty uniformed. Yep, so we're happy about that.
Is there an update on the auditorium at Algonquin?
Auditorium, so we have, we did contact, remember we had talked about hiring that engineer. He's contacted Evan, they're now writing a bid for what it is that we're looking at. You know, it's like, when you do a project like that, you could start sometime with what you think you need done, and then it starts turning into what you want done, or what they think they can do for you. And so, so Evans, we've talked a little bit about, you know, having a couple different plans, and, you know, we'll present it to you guys as we get it. In other words, here's what could be done, here's what we should do, and kind of give you the different, obviously there's quite a difference in prices too, so, but we'll make sure we share that with you as soon as we get that information. And I think.
What about the lighting? You talked about
Yep.
upgrading the lighting out here.
Yep, Evan, last update on the lighting, outdoor?
Still waiting for that company to write the specs for that bid.
Okay,
Is that
As
just,
everybody's aware, getting work done this summer has been incredibly difficult, not only from manpower, but through supplies. So it's still in the works. I last spoke with them last week, and they had compiled all the data they needed to kind of put together bid spec, as well as I met with the auditorium guys last week, and they planned around up in the lighting area to help us finish that bid process as well.
is that just this building, or is it?
no, the outdoor lighting was all the outdoor for the district. Because we know we got some to fit, and we've even talked about, you know, we're not giving up on that project necessarily for the fall still. I mean, a worst case scenario, but really with it getting darker earlier, we'd really like to have it going, so when we can have it for this year still. So we're not giving up, it's just gonna be a matter of if we can get the people. Like Evan said, it's been very challenging to get people out, so doing the best we can with it though. That's it, Phil.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any visitors, any requests?
None.
All right. We have 2 action items now, first of which is the new Algonac Community School Board and District Mission Statement and Goals. Would anyone like to make a motion there?
I'll motion that the Board of Education approve the updates to the Algonac Community Schools Board and District Mission Statement goals as presented.
Support? Moved and supported. Any comments or questions?
I just wanted to follow up on one thing with that. We had talked about, as part of getting information on that, is possibly looking at doing some form of a survey we had talked about. So I am looking into that. I've kind of started already work on how that would look and how we can draw some data that way for that. So.
Cool. And to cover for anyone watching at home or the group here, the biggest thing we changed to the mission and goals was to deliver a curriculum that is relevant to student success through a variety of innovative methods, kind of focusing on our ability to, I don't know, to choose your analogy, make lemonade out of lemons with what we're going through now to evolve our use of technology and evolve how we do things and, you know, ever being creative. So that was the biggest change. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. And we have one more.
I'll make a motion that the Board of Education hire Laura Stiltner as a special education intervention assistant for Algonquin Elementary.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any comments?
Yeah, just wanted to let you know, and you know, obviously we've moved this because of the relation with Sharon to a separate item. Just wanted to let the board know and anybody in the public that Laura comes very highly recommended. Her resume speaks for itself. When not only did we interview her, she's going to be working with some of our more difficult students. She went down, observed to make sure that she understood kind of where she was at, spent a day over at or 2 days actually over at Millside, getting kind of a feel for what it is that was going to be expected of her. And like I said, we couldn't be happier. Definitely the most qualified candidate. So that was the reason behind the hire.
Very good. Well, I think we all agree she's a qualified candidate. Sharon's going to abstain from the vote, just given the potential
What can I say?
conflict.
Even if she's an in-law.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I abstain.
All right, that passes. With that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn at 7:55 p.m. Moved and supported. Any concerns? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. Have a great night.